beautifuls! Welcome to Mana Reads. So, I done a video before where I talked about, I had brought up 5 different manhwas that I was reading at the time. Some of them are still ongoing, but I also promised that I would make another list of 5 more manhwas that I would recommend to you because y'all enjoy the topic. So I have chosen 5 new manhwas to recommend to you, things that I'm reading currently and things that I've all of these actually are still ongoing, so so you can still enjoy them. But yeah, so we're just gonna go through it, and I hope you enjoy this new list. And if you have any other manhwas that you would also like to suggest to me, leave them down below in the comments. Or if I've missed one of your favorites, I do apologize. Let me know, and then I'll take a look. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. So the first one that I want to talk about, and let me get my handy dandy phone because it's on here. It's called Dubious Relationship. So Dubious Relationship is about a celebrity. Well, he's an idol, and I think he's starting to act as well in the manhwa. But basically, it tells the story of a model who has a crush on his ice cold bodyguard. So basically what happens is that his family is part of a rich conglomerate. They have he's a Chernobyl, or I don't know what you would call it in Chinese, or in Mandarin, but he's a Chernobyl basically. He comes from a very powerful family. Now he's not involved in his family business because he decided to go a different way. Now he had a falling out with his family because his father tried to get him into conversion therapy. If you don't know what conversion therapy is, it's basically when you are trying to get someone to be straight again. Anyway, so that didn't work, of course, and so now he's doing his own thing outside of the family. His father, though, however, still likes to meddle, and so they hired a private kind of bodyguard for him who used to be in the military, and so now he's protecting their son or his son, and so they start living together. Now, up until this point, it's a couple of chapters in. It's actually ongoing still. They haven't admitted that they like each other at all. And basically the kid is a brat. He's just a brat. He likes getting his way. He's stubborn. He doesn't, understand the word no most of the time. And, he's just trying to get his way. But he, also he's been a little bit damaged, because his family doesn't accept him for who he is and tried to get him into conversion therapy. Also, he's had some heartbreak. His last boyfriend basically left him because his family ordered him to, and gave him money. So, obviously there's some trauma about that. And so, he's not very open about his feelings. And he likes to say things that he doesn't mean to try to hide what he actually wants. And so his bodyguard is very he's not, it says cold here in the description, but he's not cold. He just doesn't talk very much. He doesn't really know how to interact because he's been in the military for a while, and so he just got out, and so now he's doing private bodyguard service, and he has to take care of this kid who talks back all the time and doesn't listen. So there's that. But they kind of enter into this weird relationship where they're not exactly a couple, but they're not a couple. And so you just kind of want to knock some sense into them. And to be honest, it gets really frustrating, but I really enjoy reading it because I enjoy their interactions, when they're not ignoring each other, or where they're not like being mean to each other. Not really that mean to each other, but they, you know, it's just like they don't like communicate very well. There seems to be a lot of like running things within like BL in general. It's like in Cutie Pie, like if you've seen Cutie Pie, you know, spoilers, that like everything would be solved if like Hyalin would just talk to Kua and be like, hey, like this is what's happening with your family, you know, before he found out the way that he did in episode 10, because now he's upset, but whatever. I'm not even talking. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm supposed to be talking about manga. Anyway, that's not the point. So back to my point of, you know, not communicating. So yeah, they don't really communicate well with each other, but you know, we'll see where it goes. I'm really enjoying the story. Their friends are really funny. The friend group is really funny. He's really funny. The male lead is pretty funny. He does a lot of stupid shit, you know, because he just doesn't know what else to do. But the interactions that he has with the bodyguard are pretty hilarious, because like, you know, he'll be staring like at his body and then like get caught and pretend that he's like doing something else. And it's nothing. Is it mature? No. But is it enjoyable? Yes. So, you know, definitely give it a try. And especially since I know that my last recommendations were kind of heavy, this is a bit lighter. I mean, there are some like traumatic things in the story, but it's not like as gut-wrenching as the other one. So I would give this a chance for sure. The other one that I wanted to talk to you about is called To Be or Not to Be. So this one is about a teenage emperor. Now, this emperor was actually transmuted into the past, into ancient China. And so he transmuted in as the villain of the story. And so he's trying to basically find a way to survive, or to like go back to his own time. So he meets the other male lead, who's the enemy of the kingdom, because he like, you know, he took, basically the emperor conquered his kingdom, and so the male lead is now back for revenge. But that's how the story was supposed to go. But, and you know, the story was supposed to, you know, have, you know, him take all the hair of like all the women. But what ends up happening is that the male lead from the future changes the story so much that he ends up falling in love with the rival from the other kingdom. And so they have to, you know, and so like that changes the story a lot. And so now they're navigating a different story where they're now both in love with each other, and the kingdom still falls, spoiler alert, but there's now a new host of problems that arises from that, because anytime, you know, anytime there's a power vacuum, there's multiple factions that, you know, want to have power, and so that kind of sets off another kind of wave of consequences. I'm a big political intrigue and imperial drama person, so I really love this story. The artwork is really beautiful. And it's a very epic story. And a lot of the things that happen are pretty funny, but it's also heavy. Like, there's a lot of things that they talk about, like war and, you know, what it means to serve and just duty and things of that nature. But it's a really good story, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's still ongoing, so it is a long read. I mean, just the fact that there's a lot of updates. This is also on webcomics. The Doobie's Relationship and To Be or Not to Be are on webcomics. That is pay per chapter. So, you know, there's that. If you find other ways to enjoy it, then I would recommend these two to you. They're really good. I mean, both in different ways, you know, but they deal with like similar themes of just like acceptance and, you know, trying to, you know, survive and just being in love in ancient China. That's good enough for me. No, but seriously, I really enjoy these types of stories, and they're very like sympathetic characters. Like there's never a point where you don't feel bad for the male leads, because a lot of things happen to them. Some of it is their making, but most of it isn't. Most of it is just they're the victims of life circumstance and the tumultuous times that they live in. But I think it's a really good read, and so I'm really enjoying that story. So I think you would too. The other one that I want to recommend to you, this is on Manta. So Manta is another platform, and I really enjoy Manta a lot because it's like $3.99 US, and you get unlimited access to every title that they have. Manta, if you're listening, I love your service, and I would really appreciate you if you sponsored me. Anyway, yeah, so this is called the Dangerous Convenience Store. So it starts off with a student who is, going to school. He works at a night job. He works several jobs, actually. But one of his jobs is a nighttime clerk at this convenience store. Now, the reason why it's called the Dangerous Convenience Store is because it's in a rough neighborhood. There's a lot of gangsters that come into this convenience store. I don't know why, but I guess it's because it's in a rough neighborhood. So, he's working, he does his job really well. He tries not to get scared of all the gangsters that walk into his store. But there's this one gangster or mob boss who comes in and always gets the same thing. It's a pack of cigarettes and 2 fancier bottles of liquor or whatever. And so they start talking kind of. And the main character, the one that works at the convenience store, has a one-sided crush that hurts him a lot. And so one day, he, while he's talking to the gangster, and I'm not sure if he was drunk. I don't think so. But anyway, so there was this one night where he was talking to the gangster, and he says, "Have sex with me." Just because, what ends emotional pain but fucking a stranger? I mean, I don't know if they butt fucks. Words, man, words. Anyway, they go and they do have sex. I guess he just kind of says, "Okay, sure." And so they do that, and so the clerk is "Okay, well, thanks. See you later, basically. And so he thinks that's going to be the end of it, but the gangster ends up falling for him. And that's where I'm at the moment. The update hasn't happened yet, so I'm eagerly awaiting that. I don't know. I honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the story. When I first started reading it, I was I don't know how I feel about him. But it's actually caught my attention, and especially now that the gangster has caught feelings, I think it's gonna go into a different direction. But yeah, I would definitely think it's worth checking out. The story is it's not complicated. It's just, a guy who's kind of down on his luck meeting a mob boss. So it's kind of also has some Cinderella aspects to it. But I do like the main character. Despite the fact that he's struggling, he still does his best, or he still tries to do his best by his family. He has one brother who he has to take care of. It's a very sad story, but I think that they both kind of walked into each other's lives at the right time. It's kind of those I don't want to say it's destiny because I haven't finished reading the story, so I don't know if they're gonna end up together. But I definitely like that aspect of meeting the right person that kind of opens up your worldview and makes you think differently about things. It's that light it's like, you know, you've been in darkness for so long, and so you finally gravitate, or you finally get it pulled into somebody else's light, you know, and that kind of transforms you into, you know, being a better person, or your situation gets better. You know, there's a lot of things that I like about it. But anyway, yeah, I would check it at the Dangerous Convenience Store that's on Manta. The other one that I wanted to mention to you, there's so many, like, that's a problem. It's like there's so many good manhwas that it's hard to talk about just 5. But the other one that I wanted to talk to you about was called In the Closet. Now, that one is about an idol. So basically, there's an idol group, and they're very successful. They're very popular. It's a Korean idol group. And one of the main characters falls in love. Well, he's been in love with his new manager for a while, because his new manager was also used to be in a K-pop group before they disbanded. And so, you know, he has this like secret crush on him. However, you know, it's not so secret, or it doesn't stay that secret for very long, and they do end up together. And it's very like fantasy. Why? It's very fantastical in the way that in the story in the manhwa, they're able to like. I'm not sure if they're able to come out, but he comes out basically. The idol comes out and says, "I'm gay." But that doesn't change who I am, or that doesn't like change like my music or anything like that. And at the moment, I feel that can happen in South Korea. I mean, that can probably happen in a lot of places. But, you know, he does it, and, you know, he's met with like a really good reception. Yeah, there's some people, there's some noise, but, you know, he kind of like, his friends and his bandmates, like, you know, are supportive, and they say good job. And there's another one in his group that's also gay. So, you know, it doesn't turn to be too bad for him. Now he ends up, like I said, he ends up falling in love with his manager, and they start a secret relationship, and they kind of navigate through idoldom, because the manager also makes a comeback, and so they navigate through that kind of murky waters of, like, you know, being an idol and like being in a relationship, and how to balance, and so they don't get caught, and they continue to kind of like be happy. And I really like that story. I just think the story is really good, and of course the art is beautiful. It's just really good. I mean, I know I keep on saying that about all of these, but like, I mean, it's because I like them. Like, you know, I'm not gonna recommend something to you. I'm not gonna talk about things I don't like. So, unless they're important. But yeah, In the Closet, like In My Closet, is really good. It's one of the first, like, I know there's a couple. I'm sure there's a couple like idol, like BLs out there, like in manhwa land. But this was like the first one that I read personally, and so I've really enjoyed it. Everything is like very pink. So, I mean, if you don't like the color pink, that might be a little jarring, but other than that, I think it's telling a good story. And it kind of is, I think it kind of bleeds into real life too, because like, even if, you know, Korean idols, even in any idol isn't actually gay, like they still can't date publicly, or else they get like, you know, blasted and be like, "Oh, you lied to us." I'm like, no, they didn't lie to you. They provided you with entertainment, and then they get to go home. Like, that's the thing that I always get mad about with people. It's like, no, these idols don't owe you anything. Like, they provided you with a service of like entertaining you, and then when they're done, they get to go home. It's like, it's not like you. It's like when you're working in an office, right? Like, you don't take the office with you. I mean, at least you shouldn't. You know, you're not entering, you know, most of the time people, when they leave work, they leave work. You know, that's like, their home time is their own time. Idols are just the same. Like, when they go home, and they shut off their lives or whatever, they get to be themselves. Like, they get to be whoever it is that they are when you're not watching them. And that includes dating. Like, I don't understand this. Like, I've never gotten this point where, like, people get so upset that idols date. It's like, these people, and girl idols too, like, these people are like adults. Like, they get to do whatever it is they want to do. Like, if they want to smoke, if they want to drink, if they want to go out and have sex or date or fuck or whatever, let them do it. Like, it's not hurting you. Like, there's no way is it hurting you that they do that. Because they're still, you know, providing you with concerts and with merch and with all the other shit that they do. Like, sorry. I'm sorry. I get upset about it. Because it's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And they talk about it in the manga. Like, they do. They go into, like, fan expectations of them and the pressures that they have to deal with, you know, being an idol. And, you know, and nobody really talks about that. There's a lot of pressure being an idol because you have to maintain an image and you have to be perfect. Just as an example, I am not a big, like, K-pop person. I've just got into K-pop myself. But my friends have been, you know, kind of telling me about, you know, different bands and stuff. And so one of the K-pop groups that they mentioned to me is SHINee. One of the members in 2017 committed suicide because of the pressure of being an idol and the fact that he felt that he couldn't talk to anybody about it and be himself. That didn't need to happen, you know, and the fact that it didn't affect anything else after that. It didn't change the system. It didn't, you know, no idol that has done that. And I know that he's not the only one. But they keep on just talking about how, things need to change. We need to put less pressure on these people that are just human at the end of the day and nothing happens. It's like, it's very upsetting. To say the least. I didn't mean to rant about this. I'm sorry. It's just very upsetting. But anyway, please read In My Closet. It's very good. It goes into, you know, life of being an idol. It goes into pressures of being in a relationship while you're trying to be an idol, while you're trying to keep it a secret. And, you know, sexuality, like what it means to be openly gay as an idol. It's a really good story. And it's just, it presents it to you in a very light-looking package, and I just like the fact that they talk about these things because it needs to be talked about. It's very important to have these kinds of discourses. So that's my rant for the day. The other manhwa that I'm going to recommend to you, it's not a BL, it's a GL. It's called The Girlfriend Project. It's on Tapas. It's very cute. Now, I've just started reading this, so I don't know how dark or how light it's going to be. As of right now, it's very fluffy. It's about a poor college student who gets faced with a lot of debt and she has to pay it off. And she doesn't know how she's going to pay it off. She has like 2 jobs, or she has a job and she's, you know, contemplating getting more jobs to kind of pay it off. And then she meets a very pretty, rich girl. And so they start talking. I'm not up to the point where I really know what's going to happen. For right now, it's very light and it's very cute. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to recommend it because it's a GL, and you can hate on me all you want for just like recommending because it's a GL. But, you know, there's a couple, but they don't really get that much attention as the BLs do. So I'm going to kind of bring it up as much as I can when I'm able to. So just check out The Girlfriend Project if you're a lady enthusiast or you like the ladies. I happen to be both. So, you know, there's that. Definitely check that out. The other one is also kind of idol themed. I guess today I picked idol themes, except for the the other two. But the last one that I wanted to talk to you about was called A Good Day to Go Crazy. So it's also about idols. So the story is about an idol who kind of gets embroiled into a scandal, and he has to stay at this kind of down on his luck. I think he's not a manager, but he like works in the entertainment industry as well, and so he is asked to put up this idol to stay with him, and so he does, because he's gonna get paid, he's gonna get some money from it, and the idol is just kind of he's not like, at first he's very kind of like crazy, but you find out that he has a lot of like hidden trauma. They both do, right? They both have this is like probably like the least lightest one that I'm going to recommend to you, because they both have traumatic experiences, and they both kind of have like really deep scars about their trauma, and so they kind of meet each other when they're like both haven't dealt with it at all, and so they kind of learn how to basically heal each other. And so I really like the story. I'm not sure if it's ongoing. I know there's a lot of volume, so it's another long one. But I definitely recommend it to you. It's not light, but there are some light moments, and it's really funny. The idol is very hilarious. He says a lot of like out there stuff when he's just like doesn't care about the things he says. And I don't know, it's a really good story. I definitely think that it's worthy of your attention, because it also goes into what it's like to be an idol, like how perfect you have to be, but it goes into more than that. It goes into what it takes to kind of heal yourself from trauma, and learning how to better cope with things that happen, and just learning to be better because of it, or learning to come out on the other side, and like really what it's like having a support system there for you, to kind of help you along the way. It's a really good story, and it's a lot deeper than what you think it's going to be. I definitely recommend that to you. That one is on Manta. So like I said, Manta is a great app, because you pay $3.99 US. I don't know how much it is in your currency, but it's $3.99 US, and you get a whole library. Like, you don't have to pay per chapter. You just pay $3.99 and you're good to go. And I really like that. Now I use Manta personally every day. So Manta, if you're listening, please consider supporting me. I would really appreciate it. Do you guys like my pitch? Will that work, do you think? Anyway, so that one is on Manta, and you can definitely check it out there. It's a long one, so so take breaks if you're going to read it, if you're going to try to binge it, because it is a long, there's a lot of chapters in the manhwa, so just be aware about the manhwa that I like to read, and it's angst, like pretty much like all over the place. Like, it's just angst. If there's angst in it, I'm probably going to read it. So, maybe you can tell me about a manhwa that you like that isn't angsty, so I could enjoy it. I would like that. Anyway, so that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Various ways to support me will be down at the bottom. If you decide that you want to support me with a little bit more dollars, then you could become my patron at patreon.com. I only have like one tier, but if you do join, you'll get a special shout out during the episode. And then also, I'm trying to start a watch party, so that way my patrons can enjoy watching the series at least like once a month. So I hope you would consider for that. Anyway, I hope to see you next time, and enjoy your week. Bye!